All right, this is the June Watch George Eat Lunch SIG for koha-US, aka web dev. What do we want to talk about today?
Today I am eating a Jimmy John's sandwich with chips and a Coke.
Thank you, George.
Nice.
I guess I can share a little bit. I've been playing a little bit. If I'm- oh, okay, so I really haven't done much lately. I did move this up from down here, which has been on my to-do list forever. I also hacked away at the suggestions pending approval link, because in its current state, it does this where it's pending approval, the library, and then all libraries. And most of my libraries don't need all that. And it doesn't match the formatting of the other things that show up in that list. So I switched it up and just made it just that the logged in libraries count. And then I'm still struggling with like the built-in ones don't link the number. The ones that I've added myself do link the number. So I need to add links to the numbers for consistency, I think. And then what else did I do? Oh, I've been playing with modals. Modals are fun. So in my current iteration, these links go out to different Google Docs. Same thing with my quick links. On my test server, I've turned them into modals, so it like embeds the contact information and the hours directly within Koha, so they don't have to go out and get that information. The only problem with that is that there's a whole bunch of errors in the console, which it's frustrating. But I think it's because I'm embedding Google Docs and nothing that I've done personally. So I'm still thinking about that. I may try something different with the libraries directory. I know George showed me his last week at our Kegger, and we like what he's doing, pulling from the actual libraries table in the database, but I don't store all the same information there as I do in the spreadsheet, like hours and stuff. And it's easier to update a spreadsheet than it is to go into each individual library and update their libraries listing. So working on that.
Oh, that's cool. And I haven't really done much with modals. So how do you create a modal?
So I went to Internet Librarian last year and they showed off this really great website called bootstrapper.io, which I use for this sort of stuff. It's just templating. And so Koha is using Bootstrap 3, I think. Lucas, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So if you go into their 3 version, you can look at all the little things they have there, and one of them is modal. And all you have to do is like tell it what you want, and it'll build the HTML, and that is just HTML. So in my Koha, all I've done in the staff client, I think I put them in the nav menu because that shows up on every page, so that I have access to it on any page. Just pasted in that modal information, and you can see my my embed, my iframing is in there, or the embedding is in there. And they actually have that on here as well, which is what I used to generate that code with Google embeds. So yeah, I really like this website, and I'll put it in chat so it's in the recording. And
I just put it in the chat because when I looked it up, I got a, if you spell it bootstrapper, like bootstrapper is spelled in English, then it gives you all kinds of, don't go to this site. My antivirus just kind of freaked out for a second there. So I put the link in there if you want to go look at it.
Thanks, George. I was gonna mention on those, so it builds out the embeds with an extra link I think the one on the website is like a print link, like if you want to print. So I just swapped that out with a link to directly to the sheet. So if people want to go from here to there, they can. But yeah, the Bootstrap stuff is super simple. And I appreciate that it's part of Koha, because all it takes is using the right classes and things, and it's all styled up just the way that matches everything else in Koha.
That's really nice.
The staff client is on a version 3. You're right, Jason. If you're doing work on the OPAC, it's good to know it's on a version 4. So you might build slightly different modals depending on where you're working.
Cool.
One thing I've noticed is that there are some of the Bootstrap, particularly the badges and buttons, where like the community has changed some of those, so that if you try to do like a danger button or a danger label, they don't work the way that Bootstrap says they're going to work. They've been customized in Koha.
Yeah, it's missing some of the Bootstrap styles sheets that do that. Unfortunately, just adding them from like a CDN messes with a bunch of other things in your staff client too, and it's not worth it.
Yeah, what I did is on the things that I wanted to style, I just went in and looked at what the CSS was in Bootstrap and just created CSS for that, added that too. So, you know, in a previous version of Koha, I was using jQuery to add a Bootstrap class to something. And so I just started, you know, writing the CSS and just adding the CSS to the thing that I wanted to style, which is a little bit more work, but it's a little bit more, it's a different level of copying and pasting, I guess is the way to explain it. You know, it's a different copy and paste.
Also,
Yeah,
sorry,
go ahead.
I was just going to say that the roadmap for 23.11 from the release manager now includes an update to Bootstrap 5 for the staff client.
Awesome.
Yeah, nice to stay current.
I showed this at the koha-US meeting yesterday, but this is what I've been working on with CSS, is just adding our colors, the next brand colors to Koha instead of the green. And I'm almost done with that. There's a few pages where I haven't gotten it right yet, but I've gotten most of it. And I've been using Stylus. I've found pretty helpful. It's just an extension that allows you to add CSS to whatever it is you're doing, to any page. And so I've been working on it in Stylus, and then when I'm ready, I move it permanently over to the staff user, what is it? Internet user CSS system preference. So I think a couple of the pages I've still got, I guess it's on lists is one of them, where I still need to style the colors for the tabs, and in this processing box, when it shows up, it's got a green outline around it still. And so there's a couple of little things left like that that I need to go in and fix. So. And I have been using, you know, Jason mentioned, what was the name of that? I put it on Chrome, and I don't have Chrome open right now.
Oh, the colorblindly.
Colorblindly is the one on Chrome is really good for showing you what it's going to look like, how whatever you're doing is going to look like to a person with different kinds of color blindness. And I found a similar one that works pretty well for Firefox, and I can't find the name of the extension in the extension. What's it called? A11Y color blindness empathy test is the one I found for Firefox that I like the best. So that was something I did yesterday after we talked about it, to make sure that I was using some colors that would make sense for colorblind people. I've been using to find color palettes that look good. I've been using a tool here at this website that I just pasted in the chat box. Vengage has some. You give it a color, and it'll give you a bunch of different options for palettes that match that basic color.
What else do we want to talk about today? Other cool stuff we're doing. I haven't touched the kids OPAC in a month again, so it's been like 3 months now. Did you submit a proposal for that, Barbara?
Ed, and I included you and Lucas without talking to you first, which I made a note in my proposal that because I had heard at the board minute, I read through the board minutes, and at that time it said they'd only had 5 proposals, and I thought, oh, well, and I don't feel real prepared this year to do anything, but I thought, well, I probably better submit something. And I looked on Slack, and you had yourself marked as off, and I'm like, well, he's not there. And so I just submitted it and said, I'll talk to him later and see if they are interested. So I'm
willing. Even if Lucas doesn't want to, we can make up a 30-minute presentation about it for sure.
Well, and Christopher said in the conference meeting that he really thinks it needs to be a 55-minute presentation. And I'm like, okay. So I'm not sure exactly what it will be.
I'm also happy to join, Barbara. I just need to confirm I'm able to go at those dates. So
yeah.
I think this is your opportunity to just say to Brendan and Nate, I'm already doing a presentation. You got to send me, man.
Yes. I'm still struggling with an issue in the kids OPAC that I kind of don't know how to describe. And I'm not sure I can show you because it's only happening on my iPad. And when I look at a detailed record, the author, the contributor, the subjects, the genre, it's putting in this like extra white space. And so the label and the content of that field are displaying wonky. And I know that I had that trouble with something else in a previous release, and I was able to go back and find what you, Lucas, had given me that corrected it, but this time it doesn't seem to be. So I'm still working with that, but just some, weirdness. And then when I try to use, to inspect it on my desktop, I can't really reproduce the behavior because I think it's got something to do with the iPad.
Is it Safari on iPad?
I think, well, I haven't checked Chrome again recently, but I think it was both. And I'll check that and see if it's doing the same.
The kids' OPAC stuff is so JavaScript driven, and Safari, there are certain functions, jQuery functions in particular, that Safari doesn't handle very well. I've ran into this in the past with several different functions. I forget any of them off the top of my head, but be curious to know what it looks like on Chrome or Firefox on your iPad.
Yeah, it's the same problem in Chrome.
Is it?
So it's like I've got the title, I'm looking at the details. So I've got the title, and then on the line where it has the by and the author is like superscript or whatever to the by, and the same thing on the contributor. So it's like the content is floating above the line. And then sometimes that happens with subjects and genres. And I haven't figured it out yet, but it hadn't been that way. And then all of a sudden it was that way. And I realized this week that when I was looking at my regular test OPAC, all of a sudden I was getting this wonky display. And apparently I don't have the cron stopped for our custom XSLT on the test server. So I opened a ticket to get that stopped because that freaks me out every time it happens. I'm like, what changed? And it's because those settings went back to those custom URLs.
Right.
So it took me a while to figure that one out. I'm like, what is going on? So. But I'll get it figured out at some point. What's going on with Michelle and Brendan at CLAMS? Anything? We have Debbie.
Yeah, still just trying to figure the system out.
I just got an idea for George's problem with the sensors. I used to work at a tech support in a high school, and we just like set up a fan and have some things blowing in front of the sensor, and it worked pretty good. So as long as you have access to a power outlet that you have control of, that they don't have a sensor hooked up to somehow.
I was mostly saying that because I noticed Barbara all of a sudden it got dark really suddenly. I don't have that problem in my office, so.
Oh, yeah, it's really annoying if you're like in the middle of like unscrewing something and you have like tiny little screws and stuff and the lights go out. So.
I pulled up your catalog on an iPad and I'm not seeing it. I guess I could join with the iPad and share the screen, but like you're saying that the byline with the author is doing junky things. Yeah, let me see if I can.
Is it all records, Barbara, or just some?
All.
All.
What's your title there?
That particular title is Poppy by Avi.
I just want to pull it up on here too. See if I'm seeing it different. Yeah. I do see it with Avi.
And what was
Weird.
the title you looked at earlier?
I just hit the new button. It was the first one.
Okay.
My Furry Foster Family.
Show that furry foster family again, if you can.
Yeah, the author is good on that one. And I've got a series link, which I'm missing a series name.
What I noticed that's different between these two is that the little authority control spyglass is on the other one.
Yeah, and the authority control spyglass changed from the old style to the new style, like sometime within the last week. And so I don't know if that happened because we're now on 22/11/06 instead of 04, or I don't know, but all of a sudden I noticed that. But that's a good clue. Because I hadn't come across one that it wasn't showing that way, so that's good to know.
That would that's what makes me suspicious, is that it doesn't just have the label in the author, but it's got this image in there as well, and it's the positioning of the image might be forcing a change in the positioning of the other items in that
Okay.
in that line.
That gives me something to think about. I'm not sure exactly what, but it's telling us something.
Well, the way I would test it is I would write something that removes that image from the page.
Okay.
And if it works fine without the image on the page, then it's probably going to be the image that's causing the problem.
Okay.
And then and once you figure out if it's the image that's causing the problem, then you can figure out better how to deal with, because that's what it looked like to me, is that it's like when you've got three things in a line and the HTML doesn't know how to, the browser doesn't know how to space them properly.
Yeah. And, you know, frankly, in a children's OPAC, I maybe don't really need those.
You don't need those links to the authorized headings, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably don't.
Okay. Good. Thank you, guys.
Of course, as soon as you take them out of there, somebody's going to say, hey, what happened to that link to the authorized heading?
Well, I mean, when we put this out, you know, we're going to let people know that, look, this is, you know, pared down, you know, it's meant to be simple and less stuff to look at. So.
Yeah, I just checked mine and it's doing the same thing on the iPad. It seems to be just the authors though. The subjects aren't getting out of line.
I had something where it was subjects, but I'm not sure. And I've been fooling with it lately, doing some weird stuff. So there's probably some weird.
Oh yeah, I have one where it's. I really should just join, but like with the iPad, but the picture books one is floating, but the other ones aren't. I don't know. Let me make this less awkward. Maybe I won't. While I'm downloading the Zoom app, what else is going on in web dev world? Any Upgrade related things. Barbara, you're the only one. No, CLAMS people, you've been on for a while. And Barbara, you're an early adopter, right? Anything you had to like fix that we should be aware of?
Think about that. I did have this issue where I was getting these weird characters displaying. It's like it's breaking the font awesome icons, and I could never produce it. And then it hadn't happened in so long. I was kind of like, well, okay, maybe, maybe it's not happening anymore. Will it happen to me this week? And I can't say why, but it's usually the home icon in the staff client, and then like the pagination arrows. And I don't know, I suspect that because I'm doing so much jQuery and CSS and saving and reloading, that somehow it's, not, I don't know, that it's doing too much or it's not getting the updates or something. But then this week is the only week that I actually went into the test OPAC. So I wonder if it was me doing something on that side, and then somehow when I went back into the staff interface, something was displaying weird just because it's and I have like 20 million tabs open and I don't know.
I've seen that too. And I haven't been able to replicate it either.
Did you say you had seen it?
Yeah, on my test server, I've seen it happen.
Does it look like 4 little characters inside of a box?
No, it's like an I and a C with a slash. It's like a weird single character. I'm just like furiously clicking around my test server trying to make it happen.
Every time I want it to happen, I can't produce it. If I get it to happen again, I'll go ahead and even though we closed the ticket, I can go ahead and put it in there just for reference. But I'm glad to know that it's not just me.
If I change a font awesome's font family to something besides font awesome, it will end up looking like that right there.
Yeah, it's not that one. It's not that character for us.
It's like a big C it's like a big C then with other stuff and an I or something like that on the home icon. And then I think for the pagination, it's just little rectangles without anything inside them, is what I recall.
Oh, the home icon's missing on the check-in page. I guess that's a random bug. I'm not making it happen now, but yeah, I've seen it. I can confirm that. I don't know. I think last time I saw it, I tried turning off all my custom jQuery with the toggle, and it persisted. Like it wasn't anything that I was doing. And we had this problem on our websites that we're using Font Awesome, and it was like a caching issue or something, where we had to clear the cache to get the icons to start showing correctly again. But it's not like a consistent problem in koha. It's like every once in a while you run into it.
That's my experience, and it's not like I can, readily tell that, I was doing something with holds or doing something with reports, or I couldn't really key it to why it would happen. I just all of a sudden I'd look up and it's like there's those weird characters again, but I don't know why.
The worst kind of bug is the one you can't replicate, right?
The other issue, which probably is kind of more a local issue because not everybody does self-registration and not everybody probably does it the way we do it, but we have everyone self-register, fill out the form first, and then come to the info desk to complete the process. And so I've got all this custom jQuery to like normalize and validate fields on that form. And I think most of it came from Christopher. And the date of birth input box is now controlled by what, Flat Picker?
Yeah.
And so that would not allow you to manually input the date. And from a patron perspective of filling out a form, that seems awkward to me because I don't think people are going to know that they have to go in there and select their year first and then go back and find their month and their day. It's just not real intuitive, I think, and we have a lot of older patrons. I just think that's going to cause them problems. So we've got it turned, we've turned off the read only right now. And I've got some workaround going at the moment so that we can input the date. Because another problem was I could turn off the read only, but I was putting in the date and it would complete the form, but it would submit the date to Koha so that Koha read it as all zeros and it wasn't an actual date. And so then you couldn't find the patron record because that wasn't really there. And then I think did that bug get signed off? I think you did the patch, Lucas, and maybe I signed.
I was just looking for it. I'm pretty sure it's in now.
Okay.
The one to allow you to manually edit the date, right?
Yeah, manually.
I'm looking for it right now.
So you're saying that in the self-registration form, Flat Picker will not let you manually enter a date. You have to use the Flat Picker icon.
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
I have been monkeying around in a couple of places with Flat Picker. I haven't in a while, but it is a lot different than the old date picker.
It's 33821. It's pushed to stable.
Okay.
For 221107.
Yeah. I'd asked you, so what version? So I've got this in place until we get to 07, because you said we'd come up on 06. So
Correct. Yeah, the old date picker had a drop down for the year, which I preferred over the way it is with Flat Picker. Would love to have that drop down back.
And then I guess the other one that we discovered was that if you search by if you're searching for a patron by their middle name, and we have just first name and last name because middle name didn't exist. So like my middle name, my first and middle name are in the first name field. And so if I searched by my middle name, which is my maiden name, which is fairly unique, I can get to my record really quickly. And so it won't do that, but there's a bug out there for that as well. And it's also problematic if you have two last names. And I can't remember if that's also hyphenated, but the bug gives the example with a lot of Hispanic first names and Hispanic last names, because a lot of whoever reported it, a lot of their patrons, have that. And so they were finding they couldn't find if they had second values in either of those fields. It's 33117. And it says that it says patron checkout search not working if searching with second surname, but it's really larger than that, because it's not just the checkout search. I mean, it's in multiple places. And
this is, I haven't seen this bug yet, but we're having issues with the patron search too.
We're still on 2205, but we've had a ton of problems with the patron search, not with the names though, but like with everything other than names. Yeah, I think Koha actually says when you go to patrons and you've got that little drop down to choose, standard search fields. If you choose birth date, it actually it says format mm/dd/YYYY, but it won't accept any format other than YYYY-mm-dd. And so I actually disabled that because it was confusing the hell out of everybody. But we've had problems with phone number searches and email searches and date searches. And so I don't remember which bug it is, but there's, it's supposed to be fixed, I was told when we upgraded, but everything I'm hearing right now tells me that maybe it's not.
The date of birth thing is fixed. I'm looking for that bug right now, George. I participated in that one somewhat. Let's see if I can find it.
One, I don't know if it's related, but just what I've noticed is in the left-hand form where you can specify what field you want to search for, it doesn't seem to have any effect. Like, so if you choose, I want to search email addresses, it doesn't go any faster than just a search where you don't specify. Or same thing with if you search for like the patron's surname, it doesn't go any faster if you specify the field that you're searching, which just seems kind of weird.
I found a different bug, which is 31104, that says the pagination. This is we had one of our libraries is trying to do a patron search by address, and they were coming up with some results. There were some patrons that there should have been a result for, but there was no result. And Elise said that that's related to, that she talked to other people at Bywater and it was related to this bug 31104. But it looks like it's still, well, it says resolve fixed. So that's probably not what you guys are doing, dealing with. But there's just been a lot of problems with the patron search. Other than searching for first name, last name, we've had a lot of issues in 2205. And I keep hearing more every now and then.
Well, I just searched for my birth date using the birth date from the left-hand box. And I found myself and 6 other people with the same birthday. And I did it as day, month, day, year. And it found it.
That should be, that bug is 32505.
I guess while you guys are here and we're talking about the searching, since we upgraded to 2211, we've been hearing more about it, but I think people were not very happy with the speed of the patron lookups before that. But we're hearing that some people, when they scan a barcode, it takes like 5 or 6 seconds, which is like, to me, I can't replicate it other than the only thing that I've been able to do is if you copy and paste a barcode and put a space in front of the barcode, it will do like a full patron search. So, and that takes about 5 or 6 seconds. So what I was wondering is there any possibility that like when they're scanning, there's an extra character getting sent somehow that's making Koha do a full search instead of thinking it's a barcode? That's the only thing I can even think of.
I always blame the scanner in those situations, but if that's the case, then you would probably have like spaces in your item barcodes and stuff too, which makes them not work unless you do item barcodes different than we do. But also spaces in your patron barcodes when you're like entering a patron, right?
No, I'm talking about like so they're reporting when you scan a barcode, it takes 5 or 6 seconds to look up a patron. And I can't replicate that in any way, except for if it's not a barcode. That's the only way I can replicate that experience.
So I guess I would test the scanner in like a separate place and see if it's actually prepending a space to rule out that it's not the equipment.
Yeah.
But I can't think of a reason that it would
test scan a bunch of things. But
well, the other thing I would suggest is if it's adding spaces, I mean, if this is a problem when you're scanning library card barcodes.
It's not necessarily adding spaces. It's just the only thing that I can do to replicate their experience of scanning a barcode and it taking 5 or 6 seconds. Because if I copy and paste a barcode in the way that it should be, it looks up wicked fast. But if you like, the only way that I can kind of say, hey, I can replicate your issue sort of is by adding a character into the barcode. So
how large is your patron database? Like how many accounts do you have?
We have 170.
Oh, it's only 170?
Oh, patrons?
Yeah, it should be like 250,000.
250,000.
I did not get rid of that many.
Yeah, and I think that's substantially larger than us. So like I've been pasting and testing and it's not near that slow with either search for us, but I think that we have, I want to say like 50,000 patrons maybe.
So the one bug that we did find that may be related to us is there's a bug about if you have extended attributes for the patron and you enable searching those fields. That's the only.
And that is something Nick is actively working on correcting with the extended attributes, and we know that's slow.
So do you think that that could be the reason that they're
It's-
having that experience?
How many extended attributes do you guys use?
Okay. I don't know. Half
Have
a
you-
dozen.
Have you asked your libraries to test the way you're testing, to copy and paste the barcodes in as opposed
Yeah,
to using their standard?
I'm asking them to do that, and
Yeah.
it's unclear really how much they're understanding what I'm trying to get them to do. So I haven't had anybody to really say, yeah, that is exactly, now I'm seeing what you're seeing. You know, I'm just trying to find something where we can experience the same thing.
Well, I put a space in front of a library card number and click on search patrons. It takes maybe 2 seconds longer with the space in front of it. It's really not a significant difference for me.
And I double checked. We have 76,000 patrons. So, I mean, that's a lot less than you. So that could increase the time using the advanced search versus the basic search for patrons. It does like blip up the sort of patron search page when you put the space in there. So that may be a way to try and illustrate to your people, hey, are you seeing that page between scanning and this or not?
But yeah, it's saying 175,000. We used to
Yeah, I
have
thought it was,
150, so we got rid of a lot.
I thought it was about 170 something.
That, yeah. Last year we had for our stats 260,000. So is our database actually that big? We're a lot smaller than other places in our state. So 175,000 doesn't seem like that many patrons for it to be that slow.
No, and I'd be curious. I think Bob said he's upgrading next week. I'd be curious to see how Bob fares because I think Bob's the biggest of us. To see if he runs into these same speed issues that you guys are running into.
Yeah, I have about 110,000. So I don't know. If you can say to them that it's operator error because they're accidentally hitting the space bar before they scan things, or if you can say it's their workflow, then you can just wash your hands of the whole thing.
I'm not like looking for excuses really. I'm just like, I don't have a scanner, so I can't like scan a barcode, but I can copy and paste a barcode to emulate a scan, right? And when I emulate a scan on my side, I don't have a 5 to 6 second delay. But the only way that I was able to sort of be like, well, it seems like maybe it's somehow doing a full patron search, because when I do a full patron search, it does take that amount of time. So then I could say, you know, sounds right. Sorry to derail the web development side of things.
No, well, maybe not. I do have a scanner. I was testing to see if it actually put a space in front of it, but I don't have a card. That's my problem. I can assign one of these barcodes to a patron. That'll work. And don't feel bad about derailing. That's what we're here for.
And like, I kind of feel like it's probably not the individual scanners, because everybody's reporting the same thing. So that also means like leaves me scratching my head about maybe it's somehow the software.
The other thing was, you had mentioned a couple times, Brendan, was we have template in a lot of our patron names, or it's somewhere in the patron record. And before 2211, it worked. Like we would just put template and all of the template patrons would pop up. Now it doesn't. And so I just ran it, and it looks like it's because the search type is starts with instead of contains. So that's probably what it was before, and why it worked before, and why it's not working now.
Yeah, something changed about the template, or like maybe how it is searching the card number first or something, because we have the one that comes up now right away, it has template in the card number. So yeah, I think maybe, but I don't think that record got changed. It's just the way the search is working is slightly different.
If you go to search type and change it from starts with to contains, all of them pop up. And so now I'm wondering is if during these searches that that they're doing with the patron searches, is that it's searching first that starts with instead of contains, which is taking longer.
And I'm trying to dig up another bug now, Michelle, because that's a pretty good theory. I think that did change, but I'm trying to confirm that by finding the bug.
Yeah, I compared my live server to the test server, and the default is different for that filter.
So the filter, it used to be, mine says contain. Oh, mine is defaulting to contains. I don't know why.
Here, let me share my screen. So I guess what I'm seeing here is that this filter on the left-hand side of the page, the default is contains, but the filter in the actual box, the default is starts with when you reload the page.
Interesting. Oh, that would explain why I'm going crazy, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And does that, I guess my question is, does that persist if you change it to contains? It switches to, it stays, it starts with. So every time you reload the page, it looks like it resets to starts with. Now this actually is a web devy thing, because it wouldn't be that hard if there's no way to change it, like with a system preference or something. It wouldn't be that hard to write some jQuery to switch that default back to contains instead of starts with. But that would explain, you know, if you were having a different result from like the home page than you are on the patrons page, that would explain why there's a difference in the results there.
Yeah. Now I'm wondering which one is the preferred one to be the default.
I've got a feeling that if it was working better before the upgrade, then contains was a better one. That's just a hunch, though. I could be completely wrong on that, but.
Well, either way, they should both be the same default, probably.
Yes, absolutely. That I agree with completely. They should both have the same default.
Did you think that was already a bug, Lucas, or?
Yeah, and I'm having one of those times with Bugzilla. I can't find it.
Well, while Lucas fights with Bugzilla, we've got a couple minutes left. Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about today?
If you find that bug, Lucas, send us an email.
I will.
Great. Well, I guess we'll call it there, and we will meet again next
I
month.
think I found it.
Oh, did you find it? Okay.
Oh, it was 33321. I'll put that in there. It says starts with function when searching for patrons by addresses broken. Oh, that's not it. Sorry.
Yeah, that's for address. I saw that one too. Thought it was it.
Sorry. All right.
Also a problem though. Okay, so yeah, we'll reconvene next month for another hour of watching George eat lunch and continue to delve into the world of web dev and everything tangentially related.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye.